Hello, welcome. I'm going to play Hover Force on the Intellivision, released by INTV in 1986. This game did begin development in 1983 though, because Mattel Electronics went out of business before it could release the game. I'm going to show a quick Easter egg here. If you hold down 0 on the controller, you can see the credits. So Steve Ettinger, Dave Warhol, and Joe Ferreira did most of the game, though it was completed by Realtime Associates. So there's no overlay for this game, you gotta just remember the controls. There's not a lot, it's just, as usual, the disc, the side buttons. But then the bottom row keys are important, especially the radar screen. That you'll spend a lot of time on if you play this game. The game doesn't pause when you go to the radar screen. You can fly around. You'll need to. You can't fight on the radar screen, but you will get attacked by the enemy while you're on it. There's 3 levels of difficulty. Ranger is a nod to the Blue Sky Rangers, the name that the original Mattel programmers use. And the top numbers, all zeros right now, but green is the money damage to the city you're protecting. Red is the number of fires you put out. And yellow, the number of enemies destroyed. Then there is a fuel gauge. If you run out of fuel, you crash, you need to refuel. You can refuel twice per mission, which is also when you repair your ship or restock your ammunition. Everything's limited and you can get shot down. So you gotta stay, in the air as long as possible. Not just don't waste your ammo or your fuel. Fuel's basically like a time limit. So I'm gonna go with the cadet difficulty because I don't need the game to be hard, and I'm gonna be talking a bit. The main difference is just how aggressive the enemies are and how many fires are started. I don't believe there's an ending to the game. It's just like many old games. It gets progressively harder until you lose. So this is the overhead view of the game. You start flying. This is your headquarters where you need to fly back to. You need to restock. It's on Force Island, and you're protecting the island of New Seaburg. The enemy is these yellow dots that pops up on radar. Red dots would be the fires, if there are any. You really have to track enemies on the radar screen, and then switch back. I'm right near an enemy. Yep, there he is. So when you miss the enemy, I'll just show you. Oh, here's another one. I damage buildings too. Right there, I can put a hole in the building. He started a fire, I think, right there when he was shooting at me. Use the water cannon to put out fires. You gotta be careful when you're fighting. You don't want to just waste shots and hit the buildings. Those purple and yellow helicopters, some, give priority to shooting buildings, some give priority to attacking you. And they all basically look the same, but the manual states there's 20 different enemy types of helicopters. It's basically just they have different patterns. I think they all look either yellow or purple. Likely, I'm gonna end the video no more than 2 missions in. This is basically the whole game. I mean, there's not a lot else to see other than refueling at the end of the mission. It's all the same screens you've seen already. So there's only 2 more enemies left. One above me, one below. Now they can fly outside of the map, you might be able to see them, but there are invisible borders to the map. The player cannot leave. But when you're near the edge of the screen, like I'm going to be right there, I can't go any higher. The enemy can. The faster you're going, the harder it is to turn, but you can hit a button to just stop completely. Like your momentum carries you. You're trying to turn. I'll go after this guy, might hit the edge. Oh, he turned. I can hit a button, stop, and head the other way. Ah, that's a pretty close shot. Computers, they stop, they speed up, they turn real quick. And this is obviously the lowest difficulty, so it's not starting off too hard, but you start on the next difficulty and they're aggressive right away. And they'll start shooting you right at the base before you even take off sometimes. You're looking at the radar and then they're suddenly shooting you. I think I cleared the level. It doesn't end automatically though, you have to go back and land. There's no fires and no enemies. So there's a story to this game. Terrorists have attacked New Seaburg. Oh, there's a fire. How did I not see that? But all the people are evacuated, so you don't need to worry about people. You just have to protect the buildings. So New Seaburg, it's spelled S-E-E, not S-E-A. S-E-E are the initials of the programmer, Steve Ettinger. And the helicopter you're flying is called the JAF-3000. And the manual calls it Jet Assisted Fighter, but according to the Blue Sky Rangers, it's actually the initials of Joseph Arthur Ferreira, the man responsible for the graphics and the package illustration. He'd later call himself Joe King. That was quick. Enemy right there. Most interesting aspect of development is this game was actually intended to be 3D. It was titled Hover Force 3D. Mattel was licensing 3D glasses from the University of Georgia. Someone there created some, and Mattel figured out a way to produce those at a low cost. So this was all set to be a 3D game. It was shown off at the Consumer Electronics show in January 1984. And while people didn't think the 3D was too impressive, it was talked about a lot. I mean, this is, before Nintendo had Rad Racer. I don't think Nintendo made that game. That Namco. Either way, it was on NES, and Sega had its electronic 3D glasses on Master System. So this would have predated those. But before it could release, Mattel Electronics was shut down. And then INTV just released it without the 3D. So you can tell basically what the 3D would be, because since it's an overhead view, it would just be adding some depth to the city. The buildings would be more pronounced toward your face. And the enemy helicopters do fly at different levels. They fly low and high. It would have been cool to see 3D on the Intellivision. It's still a rather advanced game, I'd say, for Intellivision. Graphically. The gameplay, it does get stale after a few missions. Actually, when there's a ton of fires, sometimes it can be a little tedious putting them all out. These helicopters are mostly flying their own routes, not really coming after me, but in higher difficulties and later missions they may really get in your face. You can get shot down. You can have your weapon systems damaged where they won't work anymore, so you'll have to use one of your 2 landings at headquarters just to get your weapons fixed, otherwise you can't do anything. Survivals is one aspect, and you have to shoot down all the enemies and put out the fires to complete the missions. Alright. There aren't any fires, I'm not seeing anyway. Just those enemies up in the corner. So the totals across the top they're running total for the whole game, not just the mission you're on. We'll show one more Easter egg at the end of this. It requires more button pressing. There's a fire now. I missed the enemies. They flew right by, I guess. They're over here somewhere. Obviously they keep moving, and then hard time keeping up. Switching back and forth between these screens. Where are they? Lose them again. Should be up here somewhere. Yeah, flipping back and forth between the radar and the action is a little rough. I find it kind of hard to use the keypad sometimes. I got one hand on the disc, the other on the side buttons to be ready, and then keep pulling my hand off the side buttons to do this. There's somebody right here. Man. Having a hard time finding these guys. Fuel's getting a little low too. Another one is. I'm making some good shots. May have to go back to base before I can complete this. I think there's just one enemy, but there's at least one fire too. There it is. Oh, yeah, another good shot. Fuel. Okay, we might be able to do this. That's the only fire. Yeah, the fuel's now blinking. Yeah, if I crash, I crash. Maybe I should just let... I went by the fire. Yeah, I'll let the fuel run out so you can see the crash screen. It's small though, like the other intro screen, like we were taking off. It's just view like that. Okay. I'll fly over the park and crash. I think this is the park. I don't know if there's anything else to see. Yeah, there he goes. Down in flames. But yeah, the game ends if you run out of fuel. That's it. Actually, I guess you only get one life. The other things, because those are just how many times you have to land. Those aren't your lives. So yeah, that's why you have to keep running back to base to repair if you're getting damaged. But you only get those 2 landings. And then the 3rd landing is to end the mission. So, lousy rating. That's okay. So before I end it, let me show you that screen. I think I have to go back to the title screen, or maybe not. Let me just see. So you have to hold 2 and 3 on the left controller, 2 and 6 on the right, and then hit the reset button. Yeah, and there it is. So Steve Ettinger put the screen in there for his family, 2 kids and his wife. It'll just stay there until you reset again. So that's Hover Force. Thanks for watching.